Good evening. The June 25th, 2025 council meeting of the Long Branch City Council will now come to order. Roll call.
Mr. Dangler?
Here.
Mr. Rassus?
Here.
Mrs. Wittes?
Here.
Dr. Vogt?
Here.
Mr. Vieira?
I'm here. Please stand for pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I will now read the mission statement of the City Council. The Long Branch Mayor, the City Council, and administration are committed to cultivating an environment of mutual trust and respect that values the diversity of our community. We will strive to enhance the quality of life for all who live here by making Long Branch a desirable place in which to live and prosper. We will treat all members of the public with respect and expect the same in return. Certification.
I hereby certify that this meeting has been published in the newspaper in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act and posted as required by law.
Thank you. Reading and approval of previous minutes. I need a motion to approve the minutes of June 11th, 2025.
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Dangler?
Yes.
Mr. Rassus?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes?
Yes.
Dr. Vogt?
Yes.
Mr. Vieira?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Consideration of ordinance, public hearing and final considerations, none. Ordinance for introduction. Ordinance 009-25. This is the first reading of ordinance 09-25, entitled An Ordinance of the City of Long Branch, creating a chapter 233 entitled The License for Commercial and Movie Filming. Summary. The purpose of the intent of this chapter is to be supportive of the film industry, while at the same time protecting the business and residents of the city from any negative impacts resulting from filming. The requirement for a filming permit issued by the city will balance the needs and the film industry and the city and its taxpayers and promote safety and welfare. I need a motion to introduce the first reading, advertise and post according to law, and set the public hearing for July 9th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Dangler?
Yes.
Mr. Rassus?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes?
Yes.
Dr. Vogt?
Yes.
Mr. Vieira?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Public participation for resolutions and general comments. I need a motion to open the public portion of the meeting for all comments.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? If there's anyone in the audience that has a comment to make, please step to the podium and state your name and address clearly for the record. You'll have 5 minutes and may only speak once.
That wasn't them. That was another issue.
Good evening.
Evening.
My name is Christy Fernandez. I am a former employee of the city, 26 and a half years as the payroll coordinator here. I had a spotless record for 26 and a half years here until I resigned. And then on my last day, I was written up, disciplined, and suspended for 5 days on my last full day of employment with the city. I was originally charged with processing the white-collar retros out of order. And then about 3 months later to the date, additional charges were added for deleting emails that were already sitting in my deleted box. I had a hearing on April 30th, to which no one from the city showed up into the room that I sat in for about an hour, taking off time from my current position at my new job. And then I had a second hearing on June 12th, where it was pretty much a character assassination by Mr. Martin with the help of the city's labor attorney. I was basically accused of being a self-serving individual with the motive to make sure that I received what I was entitled to before I left employment here. I'm going to read some things that happened over my career here, and please tell me if you feel that this is a self-serving individual. September 2004, my son was born, and I was entitled to a 12-week maternity leave. During that 12-week maternity leave, I probably spent 3 to 4 hours a day with my coworker to get her through processing a payroll on my maternity leave, as well as coming here to process the pension report to ensure that it was processed on time and submitted to the state on time. Does that sound self-serving to all of you? Then May 2009, my mother passed away. The day she passed away, it was a payroll week. I came here and finished out the payroll week to make sure that this payroll was processed on time and accurately. And then I took the 5 bereavement days that I was entitled to. Does that sound like self-serving to you? December 2009, myself and my coworker were cursed at by Michael Martin, as well as referred to as the C word. It's 4 letters, you can all use, ends in a T, to which he was found guilty of by the city's labor council, who came in and did an investigation. Okay? Never changed a thing about how I did my job here, never changed my work ethic or my style of doing my job. Then October 2015, I had to have major surgery for a medical problem. I put that surgery off until October of that year because I didn't want to take the time off during the busy summer months where the payroll doubled in size. Okay. I took exactly 1.5 weeks off. I scheduled the surgery on a payroll week, the end of a payroll week, to ensure that I processed the payroll and it was done on time and accurately. And then I took the following week off and I returned to work after that against my doctor's better judgment because he thought I should have been out for 6 to 8 weeks. Again, does that sound self-serving? January 2021, my father became ill. He came to my home on hospice care. I went to Michael Martin and I said to him, I may need to take family leave to take care of my father while he's in my home actively passing away. Mr. Martin turned to me and said, will you work from home? You'll work from home for us, right? You'll get the payroll done for us, right? To which I didn't even know how to reply because I felt it was such a lack of empathy that I didn't even know what to say. But I did it anyhow. I took care of my father as well as contracting COVID myself for the first time. And I can't even tell you how I processed the payroll in that time because I was so sick and so exhausted from taking care of my father and trying to take care of myself that I don't even know how I did it. But does that sound self-serving? March 2022, I had shoulder surgery. I was supposed to recover for 6 weeks. Again, I was asked to work from home, to which I did do it, trying to work from home, trying to recover, and going to physical therapy. I worked from home for 6 weeks and found rides up here. I think that my son was...
5 minutes.
Sorry, Christine, that's your 5 minutes. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Catherine Kohler. I worked here for 17.5 years. I lived on Patton Avenue. I've grown up in this town. I am Long Branch. I left here April 10th of 23. I worked underneath Mike Martin. He also went after me when my mother was dying. I got suspended for 3 days for excessive sick time with doctor's note for each and every one. He also changed a sick day that I had to a vacation day to a sick day so he could suspend me. And I had personal time, whereas he would let his people that he had no problems with do whatever. However, I've watched this lady go through hell, excuse my French. He has sat in front of her desk and stared her down for 6 hours. She has gone through constant harassment and discrimination under Mike Martin for well over 17 years that I've been here. She had shoulder surgery. He made her bring home a printer, a laptop, and her son had to drive her here several days a week to get the payroll done. You tell me why, because he took her sick time. So not only did she have to work for this city, but she had to pay to work for this city. He took away overtime so that she could do all our payroll, and she sat in this building until 8 and 9 o'clock at night by herself, not getting paid, so that this city's payroll went done. I personally was going to have a conversation with somebody in another town over a job that I did not apply for. That man, while healing himself on a life-threatening disorder, thought that it was nice enough that he call her, the business administrator, before she put her coffee down that morning, to tell her not to hire me, that for a job I didn't even apply for. This man's work environment, if he does not like you, is toxic. I love Long Branch. I could no longer work under this. If you are not liked by this man, you are put through tortures, constant harassment, constant discrimination. It is appalling. Besides the fact that his office looks like a hoarding situation from the TV show Hoarders that you can see on the outside of this building at night. So I hope the Long Branch residents come and look, because it's horrible. I apologize. I was not going to stand up here, but I didn't want to come back. But this man, what he's putting her through, because he doesn't want to pay her out her vacation that she deserves, is horrible, and you should all be horrified for what she's doing. And I am here to tell you, I have no problem standing up in the court of law and testifying against the harassment and the constant behavior that me, her, and a lot of others have gone through. Just saying, the city of Long Branch should be appalled.
Thank you, Catherine.
My name's Craig Dilcher. I'm the lady's brother. I'd like to let you know, numerous times she's came home crying when she worked for the city of Long Branch because of the shit that she had to go through with Mr. Mike Martin. And you guys know what he's done, because he was found guilty of calling them a cunt. Okay? I'm not afraid to say that word. And any woman that sits here and on the board should be disgusted that a man still works for a town after being found guilty of saying that word and being found guilty of it, okay? I think he should have been fired immediately. What did he get? Had to go to a sensitivity training course for 1 day. Does that sound like it? And now, because she decides to get a better job and better herself on her last day of employment, this man decides to come up with some bullcrap charge to make it look bad on her civil service record after 26 and a half years of spotless record, doing numerous things for this town, off the books, not getting paid for it, being told by a man that's in her direct supervisor that he doesn't know how to do her job. How do you people have a supervisor? Because I work for a government agency. My supervisors all know how to do the jobs that the people that work under them do. He did not, and still doesn't. Can you ask him tomorrow to process payroll, he would tell you he don't know how to do the job. And this is a man that you have as your payroll department head? God's sakes, it's a joke. Now I will finish what she had to say. In March 2022, she had shoulder surgery that was supposed to be a minimum 6 weeks recovery, and was asked to work from home while trying to recover and go to physical therapy twice a day during the week. She worked from home for 6 weeks and had to find rides to come to this town to pick up paperwork that Mr. Martin, who lives very close to me, would not bring me, and another finance employee who also lived very close to me would not bring to me. That's a self-serving person, right? In 2020, until the time I left the employment, I worked with many hours without compensation to ensure the payroll was processed without any errors, because it was easier for me to do it that way than to ask Mr. Martin for overtime, which would have been denied anyway. And many times I did not get paid for doing the payroll after hours. But because I'm not a such self-serving person, I got the payroll done. And also my coworker was out of work or ill for other reasons, and Mr. Martin never offered me any assistance to help with the payroll, or Mrs. Antonucci, who were my direct supervisors. Again, does this sound like the actions of a self-serving person? Then this year, a municipal payroll job opened up and was offered to me very close to my house and for a significantly higher salary, and Long Branch would not even try to make an offer to keep me, which if they did, I probably would have stayed. I gave my resignation, not with a 2-week notice, but a 3-week notice. I'm asked by Mr. Martin to try to get the retro pays done before the 3 union groups who all settled at the end of the year 2024. I did my best, and so did my fellow employee, and got 2 of these done before my leaving. I was also asked to train a new person for my job and my coworker to do my job after I left, which not my job, again, management's job. Okay? And also at this time, my coworker was out sick for over a week. But then again, we were able to get 2 of the 3 retros done. And I'm disciplined for doing that? Does this sound like a self-serving person to anyone on this board? Please make this all make sense to me and anyone in this room, how I'm still, after 4 months of not even working for this town, 5 days of my vacation pay are being held from me, 2 union meetings, probably $9,000 of a representative lawyer from the town coming to these meetings and representing the town, which I think the people of this town should be disgusted that after 2 meetings they couldn't find some kind of settlement to this, because they're grabbing for straws to try to find something against her to stick. It's like throwing darts at a wall and seeing what will stick. I think the union in this town is disgusting for not getting this settled already, because I work for a union and am a shop steward, and believe me, this wouldn't be going on where I work in a government agency. Okay? The 5 days being held for me to satisfy a vendetta that Mr. Martin and Mrs. Antonucci have against me was worth about $1,500.
5 minutes.
How much has it cost the city already?
Thanks, Greg.
Vincent Lepore, 33 Ocean Terrace, Long Branch, requesting 1-minute notification. On the matter of the Finance Director, Mr. Martin, the budget at the last council meeting speaks for itself about what Mr. Martin's about. It was a sham on the residents of this city, a complete sham. Resolution 127, the Health and Tech Center, requesting a no vote. We have a library and a senior center. We don't need to dump the money into that. Resolution 128, appointing Mario Vieira to the planning board. No. I'll tell you to your face, Vieira, you're corrupt. No. And it doesn't say much for this council with the litigation we incurred from him and the way he's made some decisions on the planning board and the way he tainted some applications before they even went to the planning board. You're a crook, Vieira. Talking about corruption, requesting a no vote on Vieira. On the note of corruption, during the term of a former Long Branch fire chief, as well as member of the Long Branch Fire Department, contraband firefighting equipment, which has allegedly been illegally taken from a federal U.S. Army base, wound up on the shelves of the Long Branch Fire Department. That former fire chief and member of the Long Branch Fire Department, who had been recently charged by the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office with the falsification and destruction of public records, had also been an employee of that U.S. Army base from which the contraband firefighting equipment came from. As an employee of that U.S. Army base, he also faced disciplinary charges for the falsification of federal records. During that time of the contraband activity, once again, the city and its auditors completely failed in monitoring what was taking place. Not that that should surprise anybody. The failed financial accountability by the city of the impact of this contraband firefighting equipment, especially as it relates to the city budget, is very troubling. Council President Vieira, will you and council hire a forensic auditor to assess the economic impact to the city of this contraband firefighting equipment found on the shelves of the Long Branch Fire Department? Yes or no?
I haven't answered any of your questions since I became council president. Today's my last speech.
All right, you're
What makes you think I'm gonna
incompetent.
answer that
You're
one?
incompetent, that's why we're corruption. Corruption leads to corruption. Council President Vieira, will you and council cooperate with federal authorities in the investigation of this Long Branch Fire Department matter? Yes or no? Corruption continues via Mario Vieira. Council President Vieira, separate from cooperating with federal authorities, how do you and council plan on dealing with the former Long Branch Fire Chief and member of the Long Branch Fire Department, allegedly responsible for the alleged controversial contraband firefighting equipment found on the Long Branch Fire Department shelves? Mr. Vieira, how are you going to deal with it? You're not going to do anything. Typical of corruption. What's further troubling in this matter is that other than the proven record of incompetence by the Long Branch City government, is that there were members of the Long Branch Fire Department
1 minute notification.
that were aware of this contraband firefighting equipment on the shelves of the Long Branch Fire Department. This was wholly owned U.S. Army equipment, not depreciated, expired Army equipment. And by the way, there's no statute of limitations on this matter. Members of the Long Branch Fire Department should be aware that Team America's Eagle has landed on the Long Branch Fire Department, not only on this matter, but other matters related to this as well. Council President Vieira,
Thank you.
junk government.
Go ahead, Nick.
Good evening, all. Nick DiGuglielmo, 580 Patton Avenue, Long Branch. I'm here for my two major issues, as I have broached in the past several months. They simply are, one, the budget/taxes, and secondly, the safe streets. In the honor of transparency, I know that the mayor and council had been elected on complete transparency, and unfortunately I missed the last meeting, but in getting the bits of it regarding the budget, I find it a little difficult. I know that there was that little video thing, but it's really not clear. If you need to have people understand the budget, let's just do simple bullets, the numbers per se. Additionally, if indeed there may be a surplus, whatever that might be, 9 million, it doesn't matter. Mr. Ramon's not here to give me issues as he usually does. So if we do have a surplus, wouldn't it be intuitive that those monies be applied to lower the municipal taxes of the residents of Long Branch? Or is it just being hushed up somewhere? It's unfortunate that Mr. Martin isn't here tonight. He's got obvious other reasons on his plate, but I would urge everyone to come forward and give us a great synopsis about that. But specifically, a surplus means that you've got to redistribute the funds. I mean, you know, as I mentioned at the last meeting, if all the valuations of the homes have gone up tremendously, and with all the damn theory that Mr. Ramon mentioned, and he was totally off target because in theory we can all spout lots of things, but those did not apply. And then, Mayor Pallone, I know that you said that I'm going to get a $34 cut I mean, I can't even go to McDonald's to wind up getting a meal for that little cut. Whereas the year prior, my taxes increased by 24%. Now, if the valuation had been so high, the tax rate should have decreased. But despite what Mr. Raimon has read in his archives, that doesn't float. So I urge all of you up there to fess up. Let's give some specific numbers than generalities, and let's return the monies back to the people that pay taxes, not the crap of payment in lieu of taxes that all the high rent people on Pier Village are getting, because they're afraid enough as is. That's the end of the tax issue. And then secondly, and Mr. Shelley, don't take it the wrong way. I know that you kind of wearing a double hat right now, but if we could somehow, I've read a couple of documents. I know Mayor Pallone had mentioned one, and in terms of what's happening on the streets. And Mr. Dangler, you and I, we will proudly walk on Broadway, but not after midnight. How can we restore the faith of the general public? And I'm not talking about the yuppies in Pier Village. I'm talking about the base core of Long Branch people. Help us out. We'd like to hear some statements. What new things are being implemented to help us out? I know, as Mario Vera said, well, we can't control stabbings and anything like that. Of course we can't. Come on. That's a logical thing. But what can we do to be proactive, to be able to say, hey, we're going to have street patrol guys. We're going to wind up having the patrolman on the block. I grew up in this town where my brother-in-law's father, Carmen Roach, was a cop on the corner of Memorial Parkway and Broadway, and he stood his buns there all the time. We don't see those things anymore. Everybody's in the air-conditioned car rolling around. It's a different ball game. We would love to see something. If we could get some statements, both about the safety of the streets, secondly, some kind of budgetary cuts. Let's restore that millions of dollars of surplus back to the taxpayers and not to the pilot project. I thank all of you.
Thank you.
Hey, pretty good timing.
Yeah, right.
So Nick, let me try to address a couple of your points, and then I will ask the Public Safety Director if he had anything to add. But yeah, you did miss it last week with the budget. Remember, this is an $80 million budget. We spent a lot of time putting that little presentation together. And I mean, personally, I think most of us all think that we tried to simplify it as much as possible. But to answer your question directly, what I can tell you, because I can't get into the specifics of, line by line, but what I can tell you is that basically there was about $46 million that needed to be get by the taxpayers of Long Branch, or the levy, right? And so the levy this year remained exactly as it was last year. So there's been no increase whatsoever. So yes, the tax rate has still gone down, but basically what we need to collect from the taxpayers of Long Branch has not increased from last year. Now, take into consideration that there's been a $1.25 million increase in health insurance, pensions, cost of goods, contracts, everything else, and we kept the budget absolutely flat. So that's my answer to you. Of course, this becomes a lot more complicated in terms of assessments, in terms of overall valuation, et cetera, et cetera. So again, I'll repeat that fact. And the other thing to always consider, which I've mentioned to you on several times, is that remember that what every taxpayer or homeowner pays, the municipal portion of that is 37%. The Board of Education is 48%, the county is 13 or 14%, and the library is about 2 or 3%. The library is based strictly on the overall valuation of the city, so that's a formula that the state determines. So we have no control over that. I hope that helps answer your question. As far as I'm going to ask the public safety director to chime in here, but I will tell you, my father was a police officer with, I'm sorry, you said it was your uncle?
No, my brother-in-law's father.
Okay, whoever, I mean, obviously, right. And I always felt that you need police officers walking on the street, which we have for the last several years, pretty much since I came into office. We have a quarterly business meeting. Everybody appreciates that we have officers uptown, downtown, train station, and not only are they walking the street, but they're going inside and talking with the business owners. We just put a $25,000 camera system right down on Lower Broadway, which should address a lot of the issues that you're talking about as well. Also remember that back in the 90s, and Mr. Shirley can attest to that if I'm wrong, the police department, Mr. Beavis here as well, was at one point up to 105 police officers. When we came into office, we were in the low 80s, and we are now, we're
93.
to 93. So that paid firemen as well, we've increased too. So those are some of the things that, big things that, we are in fact doing. I don't know, did you want to?
No, we're working on new programs, adding officers to quality of life things, but we've got to get the numbers back up to where they were to assign to these units. The problem is the units you're talking about is the first things that are scaled down. Patrol is the primary, they got to respond to, life safety issues, but as the police department builds, we'll get those units back.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Scott Beaver, 434 Long Branch Avenue. Something came to light to me. Mr. Vieira, you're part of the planning board?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I have a question. I don't have the street number, but Ace Pharmacy in La Valentinas, there was apparently approval for 8 apartments above that. Is that correct?
I'm not recalling that.
Okay, well, I believe it has been approved for 8 apartments, and the old Daily Record building was approved for 6. So 2 cars per apartment, you have 16, 12. Let's round up, say 30 cars. Where are they going to park?
Well, these are questions you got to come to the planning board when that's being approved.
Well, you can't improve anything with that because Broadway is no parking overnight. The city lot behind the buildings are no parking overnight. As a matter of fact, 2-hour parking. And Mr. Shirley, you could look into that because there's got to be at least 20 cars parking there overnight in the corner. Again, behind the PAX building, which is the corner of 3rd and Belmont, go alongside of that building, take a look at the gas meters and tell me where they're all going to park. Mm-hmm. You can't blink your eyes and you can't pay your way into a spot that doesn't exist. I know they paid to the city money for spots, but if they don't exist, are you going to give up the city lot?
No,
is that a thought?
These planning board questions, you got to come to the planning board and when the application.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I have a question. Are we going to do away with a city lot? I mean, it's the one to the rear between Belmont Avenue and the rear of the stores.
Do away with it?
Yeah. I mean, well, you have no place to park these cars that are going to be in these potential apartments. Where are they going to park? Where are they parking in the PAX building? I mean, I know he has underground parking, but again, count the meters. I can't even believe there's that many apartments or at least places for stores or whatever could be in that structure. It's insane. I just don't know where these people are going to park, and I don't know if these people are being sold a false bill of goods to say, look, you can pay extra and somehow we'll miraculously find parking. That doesn't make any sense to me. And it shouldn't make any sense to anybody else here. And it just seems to me we're allowed to just keep building, screw the parking, we'll figure it out later. That doesn't work that way because you don't have any more lots. As a matter of fact, every lot that can be built in is being built in. It's out of control. It is out of control. And then don't even get into what has been built and the abatements, I know here, but it's insane. And they're probably not going to begin paying taxes. I'll be dead. So what's it baffles me.
Well, Scott, this administration hasn't given any abatements.
Well, I think I just said that,
Actually,
but.
we took the ones away from Lower Broadway.
No, that's fine, but I mean, I get that. I'm just saying, in the previous administration, by the time they're paying, I'm gonna be dead.
Yeah, I know.
A good number of us are
I know you're
gonna
talking
be.
about the PAX bill and all that was all approved years ago. before we
Again,
got
but
involved.
again, it's where are they gonna park?
Well, go ahead, I'm sorry, I don't
No,
want
go
to
ahead.
take your time. So, I mean, let me try to address some of the things, because, some of the parking, again, maybe Charlie or Mario can address that specifically. But let me just say, I mean, in terms of development, in terms of abatements, we have people who come to the council meeting who just say that everything is abated, and the reality is that that's not true. So as Mario pointed out, let's just start with Lower Broadway, and bear with me a minute, right? So that was approved by the prior administration for 600 units with a 30-year abatement. We took the abatement away altogether, and it's down to 299 units. Again, some people think, well, that's maybe too big, but the reality is, again, it was cut in half. So we're trying to really manage development. If you look at the next door to the Wave Hotel, that was approved for 107 hotel units. We now got a significant amount of money for a 7-foot height variance, and it's down to 46 units. We have adjusted on 3rd Avenue. There was a part of the transit village, getting a transit village designation was 40 units per acre. We then took that down to 30 units per acre with a new ordinance in parts of that. And again, Mr. Beaver, if you look at what we're doing today with the Health and Technology Center, that's a 4-acre site that probably was assessed or could be sold for somewhere between $25 and $30 million. And you could probably, if you build 300 condo units. We worked very hard.
Or one new city hall.
We worked very hard with the hospital, and they donated that, and now that will be a 2-acre park and a health and technology center, a recreation center for.
The city needs a new city hall versus a health and technology center, I can assure you. If you'd like to go downstairs now, I can drill a hole. I can drill a hole in the wall and show you where the black mold is downstairs. Would you like to see it?
All right.
Is anybody here aware of that?
Okay.
There's some here.
Okay. So you want to
Just gets
talk about
covered.
City Hall. Remember, we acquired the Santander Bank building, which also could have been condo units, who knows how many, and we worked with Santander Bank to get that property there, which will ultimately be the municipal court and some of the functions that we have here. So
But
we're
this
waiting,
building will
we're in the
remain.
design phase for that as well. So again, I don't have all the answers. I don't disagree with you on a lot of what you're saying, which is one of the reasons why we've hired a planner 9 months ago, and one of the things we're looking at is, in fact, the parking situation. So again, I don't have all the answers. I just want to say that we are working diligently to manage development, provide a lot of things for our residents, for our community, senior center, community pool, arts and cultural center. I mean, the list. Renovated library, Elbron, health and tech center. I mean, it can go on. So we're trying to manage it. Like I said, I don't disagree with a lot of what you're saying, but we're very aware of it. We're trying to do the best that we can.
I have one question for you. You brought it up. The community pool, great idea. Wouldn't a pool with swimming lanes for maybe a swim team that you could have developed in town been a little better than a wading pool?
No.
No?
Well,
Okay.
no, because
Thank you.
again, that
Thank you.
was, that.
I understand there was a swap and they made out far more than the city did. I understand. Thank you.
Yeah, although, I mean, I tend to disagree with you there because, okay.
Okay. Anyone else? See if there is any. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Megan Tomlinson. I live at 597 Woodgate Avenue. I'm here tonight to discuss a serious public safety concern that I have and ask that the city implement measures to support law enforcement in its efforts to better enforce the laws as they pertain to this issue. So the issue in particular that I'm speaking about is an excessive speeding and pedestrian safety issue that is occurring at the intersections of Woodgate and Cedar Avenue. It's a very residential area. There's a lot of families that live around there. My household in particular consists of my other half, my 8-year-old stepson, and our dog. And we're a very active family. We like to be outside a lot. Not only enjoying our own property, but also taking in some of the recreation in the area, which includes Van Court Park, as well as Lake Takanasi. As you all know, especially in the summer, Long Branch in particular becomes very congested, so our preferred means of getting around is on foot or by bike. And in order to get to either Van Court Park or Lake Takanasi, we do have to cross over Cedar Avenue. They're both pretty close to us, but we have to cross over Cedar Avenue. Cedar Avenue at Woodgate is 4 lanes wide. There are measures for pedestrian crossing, which includes a painted crosswalk and pedestrian signs, but nonetheless, it's an incredibly dangerous intersection to get through. Most of the cars just do not stop. On top of that, most of the cars are speeding. And I myself have had experiences where I'm well into the intersection and a car sees me, switches lanes, and accelerates to go around me rather than stop. I've also had the experience, perhaps even more dangerous, a couple of times where one car does stop to allow the pedestrian to proceed safely through the intersection, but the car in the next lane does not stop. I've had that happen to me numerous times, and in fact, I just learned today that that very scenario resulted in a child being struck one intersection over on Cedar at Hoey some time ago, and the remedy to that was to install a pedestrian activated light at that intersection. And while that's of course a welcome deterrent and safety measure, I can also say that that's not enough to make these intersections safe, because I've taken myself 1 block down to cross over at Hoey on a number of occasions, used that pedestrian light, and still had the scenario where I'm almost hit by a car because one car stops and the next car does not. I am aware that the county has a road diet planned, whereby they do plan to narrow Cedar Avenue. As far as I'm aware, there is no firm date fixed for that. I've been fortunate enough to have a couple of good conversations today with both Mr. Shirley and Captain Silverio at the police department, both of whom have assured me that they will step up enforcement in this area. But it also sounds like there are some limitations to what the police department can feasibly do to make this area more safe. I do want to thank Mr. Shirley for taking the time to have that conversation with me. I also want to make it clear that I firmly believe that added police presence in that area will have a strong deterrent effect. I think we can all relate to situations where we're driving on the road and we see a police car, we slow down, we maintain lane, make sure the phone's not in our hand, come to a complete stop at the stop sign, all of those things. So I know from that experience having police present deters law violations. I also know from my own experience this morning, where I decided to start recording what's going on every time I proceed through the intersection, that drivers simply being aware that they're being watched has a deterrent effect, because I proceeded into the intersection and openly and obviously with my cell phone was recording, and I was amazed at the cars that stopped. Now, obviously, I don't think the solution is that a pedestrian should have to do that in order to proceed safely through the intersection, especially keeping in mind.
5 minutes.
Sorry, if
I'm sorry, I didn't ask for 1 minute warning. I'm going to sum up if you
No,
don't
we just
mind.
stick to the 5 minutes, I'm sorry. because
Okay.
If I have to break it for you, I have to break it for everybody else, and I can't do that.
Understood. I'm just asking for support for law enforcement and answers as to these safety problems for the residents.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'll just respond while you're here,
Thank
which
you.
I can do. So first off, I'm glad you talked to Mr. Shirley. I mean, look, I've experienced on Woodgate and Vancourt, people speed, especially in the summer. You're absolutely right. It becomes more of a problem. Periodically, well, I'm not on those streets that often, but I have occasionally, and maybe Mr. Shirley can talk about it, we see a police officer who I'm sure is there deliberately maybe doing his paperwork or whatever, and just that presence alone
Right.
certainly slows things down. And sometimes I actually have see them actually enforce it as well. I don't know if Mr. Shirley has any more information than me, but I think, or more up to date, because he's always in contact with the county. But yes, I think they're calling it a diet something or other, which will sort of shrink and cause everything to slow down on Cedar Avenue. So I think ultimately that would be a big help, because a lot of times I think it starts on Cedar with the speeding, right? And then they continue because they're in that speeding mode one way or the other. So hopefully that would help certainly at that intersection. I will tell you though that was from a federal grant, if I'm not mistaken, that the county received. It's been approved, the money is in place, but, and there's a big but there, that it takes time. So for example,
Right.
on Ocean Avenue in Brighton, that intersection, we did, that was done last summer, but I mean, between the engineering and everything else, it was 4 years. So I don't know, is there a new projected
I
time
told her
for that?
I'd look it up and follow up.
Yeah.
I'll send it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just asking in the meantime if the city can support law enforcement to make sure that pedestrians can be safe around there, especially in the summer with
And the
all
digital
the added
sign
cars.
as well, I mean, can we put that over there as well?
When we get them, yeah, they're out getting calibrated.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Hi.
My name's Matthew Macrinos. I reside with Megan at 597 Woodgate Avenue. I wasn't going to speak, but as I heard...
Raise the mic.
Certainly. Can you hear me better?
Yes, thank you.
I wasn't going to speak, but when I heard that the solution is to put the street on the diet, that sounds good in theory, but I think there's a culture of just rampant, crazy speeding, because right on Woodgate Avenue, on Hoey, there are particular times during the week where it's worse. Going into sundown on Friday, it is particularly crazy. And that's not limited to Cedar. I have had confrontations personally, because no one's there to police it, and my kid's sitting there on his training wheels, with people who have even threatened me with their car, revving the engine while I'm standing in the middle of an intersection in front of my kid's bicycle, and won't roll down the window because they know what they're doing is wrong. And I really just want to say to them, hey, this is a neighborhood. We have kids. You probably have kids. Like, let's take it down. And it's not tenable. Like, I don't think there's only going to be one kid that's struck. It's an inevitability that, and I'm glad that whoever that was is supposedly okay. somebody's going to die there. And I don't know what else could be done besides a police presence, because those residential streets aren't going to go on a diet. And since then, we've changed the parking laws there, where people can park overnight. So those streets actually, they got narrow, but now they're blind. And now cars are parked up into the intersection, so to even be able to see around the corner is very, very difficult. And you have kids that are on these e-scooters flying around. It's a powder keg. It's like, that's going to happen at some point. So anything that the council could do to help empower the enforcement would be so welcome. And that's really all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you for the time. I appreciate you all.
Anyone else? I need a motion to close the public participation portion of this meeting.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I will now ask Madam Clerk if there's any changes to the resolutions.
No changes have been made.
We could take the list of resolutions to the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Dangler?
Yes.
Mr. Rassus?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes?
Yes.
Dr. Vogt?
Yes.
Mr. Viera?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Resolution, I need a motion to adopt Resolution R128-25.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Dangler?
Yes.
Mr. Rassus?
Yes.
Mrs. Wittes?
Yes.
Dr. Vogt?
Yes.
Mr. Viera?
Abstain.
Motion passed.
Applications and none. Miscellaneous for business for the good of the order. Councilman Dangler?
Yes, thank you. First, the former employee that got up and spoke, not sure if I'm out of line, but I do hope that at least whatever the issue is in regards to their vacation time that they occurred during time here is rectified, so both parties are satisfied. I can't speak on employees and discipline and some things like that, but certainly vacation that has been already accrued, again, I hope that that is taken care of in a positive way. Then also last council meeting, it was stated that we get a paycheck. I want to just make my personal statement. I have not spoken to the council in regards to this, but we don't do this for a paycheck. Trust me, it's not even close. But this administration, meaning the city of Long Branch, is the lowest stipend, because it's not, to me, it's not a paycheck, the lowest stipend council in Monmouth County, the lowest in Ocean County, Union County, Mercer County, Middlesex County, Essex County. We haven't asked for a raise, and we're not asking for one now, so don't anyone put out in the street that I'm saying this because we should get a raise. Since 1974. So us answering or not answering, we try to have some decorum when we are sitting up here representing the city of Long Branch, and if there's the president, or if he's the chair, he or she is the chair. So we don't do this for to go into another tax bracket, because it's just I just wanted to make sure that the public knows that I don't know anything about further than Ocean County, but the research that I did, those counties that I did mention, that's a fact. We have not gotten a raise since I graduated from high school in 1974. It's a long time. But again, we're not asking for a raise. We're not trying to put more burden on the taxpayers. I just want to make sure we say that publicly. And again, the 4th of July is coming. I don't think we meet before then again. So I want to just say enjoy the holiday. It happens to be on a Friday, so it'll be hopefully a nice weekend. Be safe, and God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Dangler. Councilman Rassus?
Thank you, Council President Vieira. I do want to echo what Councilman Dangler said. We do this out of the good of our heart. Long Branch is in our hearts, and we want to do what's best for Long Branch. We appreciate everyone coming out, expressing their feelings and concerns, so we can make Long Branch a better town for everyone. July 4th is coming up. Want to wish everyone a safe holiday, and looking forward to seeing everyone in 2 weeks.
Thank you, Councilman Dangler. Councilwoman Wittes?
Hi, good evening. I would like to also thank everyone for coming out this evening and, be assured that we are listening to all your concerns. And we do discuss them. And we try to address as many concerns as we possibly can. The other thing is I want to say is thank you to Mario Vieira for serving as president this year. And, we know it's not easy, and we appreciate everything you've done, and we wish Dr. Vogt good luck in her next term. And have a good evening, and happy 4th of July. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Wittes. Councilwoman Vogt?
Thank you, Council President. Thank you, Councilwoman Wittes, for the good luck in the next term, which will be starting at our next meeting. And also, congratulations and thanks to our colleague, Mario Vieira. It was so encouraging tonight, really, to walk into the room and see so many people who have come out. That's what this is all about. There were a lot of thoughtful comments, and just like Councilwoman Wittes was saying, in our meetings we did talk about what's the best way to keep people informed when we hear the comments, so that from one meeting to the next, what have we done? What are we trying to do in terms of responding particularly to the safety concerns? We did have that conversation today, and we'll see where that takes us. But as all of us have said, we take all of this very seriously. So thank you for coming out. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Stay cool. I think the weather's going to help us out a little bit. Have a wonderful 4th of July, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Vogt. Mayor Pallone?
Thank you, Council President. I just had a few events that I wanted to talk about. I also want to thank everybody for coming this evening and for your comments. This summer speeding and obviously is a big issue. I must say at the last meeting we had a few people, and I'd like to thank Business Administrator Shirley, because the next day I just came into City Hall and he was sitting down with the 3 captains ordering signs and discussing how we can address this. So it's something that we take very seriously, and we're working on, and we know it's difficult. So a few things I just wanted to mention. So 2 resolutions were approved by council tonight. We mentioned them, awarding the contracts for our new Health, Wellness, and Technology Center, which is at the old Ronald McDonald House. So, and also the renovations of the Elbron Library. As you know, in the winter we completed the renovation of the main library, and it's just beautiful. And the Elbron Library will look great as well. So construction is projected to start in 2 months. That's just, we're awarding it tonight, and it just takes that to get it together. And completion of health and technology project will be about 12 to 18 months. Elbron Library will take about 6 to 8 months. Second, Ocean Fest is next Friday, July 4th, from 1 to 9 p.m. at the ocean front. Most of the activity will take place at the Great Lawn and Promenade. Bands start at 3 p.m. and fireworks will start at dusk. The next fun day is Wednesday, July 16th, from 5 to 8 at the Long Branch Community Pool. Join us for a free event with free admission to the pool that evening. Food and music will be provided as well. Again, that's Wednesday, July 16th. And the cruise to the Jersey Shore Car Show, which was scheduled for Father's Day, but if you remember, it poured all day. That's been rescheduled for Sunday, August 10th, from 9 to 3. And that's, I think that's like our 30th year that we've been doing that. So that's always a nice event. And finally, I just want to thank Council President Vieira for doing a great job for the last year, and Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. And I also want to thank everybody for coming out. It's nice to have people and somebody. And I want to address what my colleagues said, that we don't do this for the money. We do this for the love of the city. What I do is, we sit up here and we do the best we can. And we discuss everything, between among us. And a lot of people don't agree with our decisions are to be. And we sit up here, we get called names, as you've been witnessed. And what I do is I do take a scale. I do have a lot of negativity that comes to our room. And when I go out in the field and speak to the people, speak to the residents of Long Branch, they uplift me. And they put me in a different, higher scale. So that's why I do what I do here. And I also want to thank my colleagues for letting me represent them for a year. I have a great group of people up here, including with my colleagues right here, and administration, the mayor. And let's not forget our clerk over there doing an amazing job, as usual. And thanks for giving me the opportunity. I'm blessed to be in a town like this and to serve it. With that, I will say good night. Thank you. I need a motion to close.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?